On June 11th, 2025, just in case people are watching this in the future, I posted this video, Daggerheart Failed GMs and Players, where I talk about the one place I think the core rulebook failed, not providing more guidance for mechanizing disabilities for players that want more options. I then got this comment from Gingerale, sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, genuinely curious about what kind of disability mechanics people are asking for. Well, this video is going to answer that question, but first, introductions! Hey folks, my name is VJ Harris. My pronouns are they, them, he, him, and something funny. I'm a full-time tabletop role-playing designer and professional game master. You might recognize my name from things such as MCDM Productions, Arcadia, Flea Mortals, or An Elf and Orc Cat Little Baby, volumes 1 through 4. Okay, introduction done, let's get back to it. Before we begin properly, I must give a shout out to my good friends Alex and Sarah. We played in a game called Strange Hungers, which can be found on the Total Party Kiss YouTube channel, mwah, with Alex as the DM and Sarah as one of the players. Sarah's character, Oash, artwork by Art Plead, aka my good buddy Sloan, had chronic pain, and the pair of them came up with a system for it. I had to ask them how it works because in my old, now ended game of Exandria Tales of War, a player, one of the ones who's in the Friday game, needed a chronic pain system as well. So there are 3 players in my game on Friday that either use or are going to use a chronic pain system. One of those 3 also uses an anxiety system, and an additional one has a kind of loose system for when they might go nonverbal. Those characters are Ambrose, Tick, Whisp, and Gullie. Side note, all the artwork is done by the official VJH Creations artist Rouse. If you're interested in commissioning them, check out their VGen linked in the description. But let's start off with Ambrose. As I said in the Daggerheart Failed GMs and Players video, Ambrose has some weird internal stuff going on where essentially there's acid eating away at their organs, muscle, bones, and nerves. As a child, these symptoms, while still severe, are less pronounced and life-threatening. The first thing that I did was look up real-world diseases that would correlate with Ambrose's disease. I found the following things. Muscular dystrophy, a group of genetic diseases that progressively weaken and damage muscles. Rhabdomyoleus, yes, I struggle with that word, a condition where damaged muscle tissue breaks down rapidly, releasing harmful substances in the bloodstream. Medical words are hard, guys. Myositis, inflammation of the muscles, often caused by autoimmune conditions leading to muscle weaknesses and pain. Amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS, a neurodegenerative disease that affects nerve cells controlling muscle movement, leading to muscle weakness and wasting. Sarcopenia, age-related loss of muscle mass and strength. Polymyositis, a type of myositis that causes inflammation and breakdown of skeletal muscle. Dermatomyositis, a form of myositis that affects also the skin. Myasthenia gravis, an autoimmune disease that causes muscle weaknesses, particularly in the muscles of the eye, face, and throat. Osteoporosis, a condition where bones become weak and brittle, increasing the risk of fractures. Paget's disease of the bone, a chronic bone disorder that can lead to bone pain, deformities, and fractures. Osteogenesis imperfecta, a genetic disorder that causes bones to be abnormally fragile and easily broken. Fibrodysplasia, or fibrous, dysplasia. Guys, I promise I practiced these words earlier. A condition where bone tissue is replaced by fibrous tissue, making bones weak and prone to fracture. Rheumatoid arthritis, an autoimmune disease that primarily affects joints but can also affect bones and muscles. Lupus, an autoimmune disease that can affect various parts of the body, including bones, joints, and muscles. Fibromyalgia, a condition that causes widespread musculoskeletal pain, fatigue, and other symptoms affecting both muscle and bones. I also grabbed Injuries and Vile Deeds by Lone Colossus Games to take a look at some of the effects that I could add to the chronic pain system. In the end, I came up with this for Child Ambrose. The adult version is going to be worse because the disease has progressed significantly. At the start of each day, you make a DC 13 Constitution saving throw. On a failed save, you roll 1d10 and consult the table below. In the event that you, the player, do not want to deal with this particular effect, you may re-roll it and choose between the two. You can also choose not to roll it on a given day. If you suffer a major injury, fall below half health, below 1/4 health, drop to 0 hit points, take a point of exhaustion, roll a critical failure on your save, natural 1, or at the player's discretion, if the character suffers a stressful or traumatic incident, you roll on the table a number of times equal to the number of additional events. Falling below half health, take a point of exhaustion, etc. And suffer each of the rolled effects. There's a table that has a D10 that you use that also goes with this, right? So 1, severe bruising. Until they finish a short rest, whenever the character would take a reaction, they must make a DC 13 Constitution saving throw or waste the reaction. 2, pain, -1 to dexterity and strength checks. 3, limping, -10 to movement speed. 4, fatigue, you can't dash. 5, vision, -2 to checks that require sight. 6, pain. You are dazed. You can take an action or bonus action on your turn, but not both. 7, irritable, -2 to charisma checks. 8, skin. Your AC is reduced by 1. 9, internal bruising. The character takes an automatic death saving throw failure when they drop to 0 hit points. This failure cannot be removed until the character finishes a long rest. 10, sickened. You have disadvantage on attack rolls, ability checks, and saving throws. Attacks made against them have advantage, and your movement speed is reduced by half. Next up is Tick, who has a chronic pain system because she has a prosthetic and an anxiety system. So this was a little different from Ambrose. I started off by first looking at common problems with prosthetics legs. This can include skin irritation, friction and pressure from the socket can cause chafing, redness, and sores, excessive sweating. This can lead to skin maceration, softening and breaking down, and bacterial growth, increasing the risk of infection. Contact dermatitis, allergic reactions to prosthetic materials are possible. Ulceration, improper fit can cause pressure sores and ulcerations. Residual limb pain, pain in the remaining portion of the limb, which can be caused by pressure points, nerve damage, or other factors. Phantom limb pain, sensations of pain or other sensations in the missing limb, which can be very distressing. Muscle strain and weakness, imbalances in muscle strength and gait patterns can lead to strain in the residual limb or other parts of the body. Back pain, altered posture and gait due to the prosthesis can cause or exacerbate back pain. Osteoarthritis, increased stress on the joints of the other leg can lead to osteoarthritis. With that research, I came up with this system, which is similar to Ambrose. At the start of each day, you make a DC 17 Constitution saving throw. On a failed save, you roll 1d8 and consult the table below. In the event that you, the player, do not want to deal with that particular effect, you may re-roll it and choose between the two. You can also choose to not roll on a given day. If you suffer a major injury, fall below half health, fall below 1/4 health, drop to 0 hit points, take a point of exhaustion, roll a critical failure on your save, natural 1, or at the player's discretion, if the character suffers a stressful or traumatic incident, you roll on the table a number of times equal to the number of additional events, falling below half health, take a point of exhaustion, etc., and suffer each of the rolled effects. So here's the D8 table. 1, limping, -10 to movement speed. 2, pain, -1 to dexterity and strength checks. 3, numbness, disadvantage on dexterity acrobatics checks. 4, fatigue, you can't dash. 5, pain, -1 to intelligence and wisdom checks. 6, pain, you are dazed. You can take an action or bonus action on your turn, but not both. 7, irritable, -2 to charisma checks. 8, unfocused, -2 on wisdom perception and intelligence investigation checks. Now, let's talk about the anxiety system. Tick has anxiety, which leads to panic attacks. I did the same thing I did before, which was research different symptoms for anxiety and panic attacks. Here's the symptoms I found. Trembling, fatigue, dizziness and lightheadedness, irritability, difficulty breathing and concentrating, intense fear. I took each of those symptoms and turned them into this. Whenever a trigger happens, you make a wisdom saving throw, the DC being based on the level the trigger is at. Trigger levels can be increased by the player or by the GM in conjunction with the discussion from the player. On a failed save, the target rolls a D8 and experiences the symptoms listed in the table below. There's 2 additional tables. The first one sets the DC depending on the trigger level. The level of the trigger is determined by the player. Level 1 is a DC 10, level 2 is a DC 15, level 3 is a DC 20, level 4 is a DC 25, and level 5 is a DC 30. And here's the table for the actual symptoms. 1, trembling, -2 penalty to all checks that require the use of your hands. 2, fatigue, you can't dash. 3, dizziness and lightheadedness, dazed. You can only do one of the following things on your turn: move, use an action, or use a bonus action. 4, irritability, disadvantage on charisma checks. 5, difficulty concentrating, disadvantage on concentration checks. 6, nausea, disadvantage on attack rolls and saving throws. 7, intense fear, frightened condition, modified, obviously for the purposes of this. And 8, difficulty breathing, inability to cast spells that require a verbal component. This also has a duration section, which I leave up to the player to decide which category we should be rolling in. A symptom can go on for D20 minutes, D12 hours, or D10 days. Next up is Wisps, which actually I haven't worked on yet because unlike Ambrose and Tick, Wisp didn't need theirs until they were older. But Wisp is going to have chronic pain from a traumatic brain injury. There's 2 types. There's a mild TBI and a concussion, and a moderate to severe TBI. Here are the symptoms for those. Physical: headache, dizziness, nausea or vomiting, fatigue, balance problems, sensitivity to light or noise, blurred vision, ringing in the ear, severe headaches that worsen or don't go away, repeated vomiting or nausea, seizures, loss of consciousness for a few minutes to hours, enlarged pupils, numbness or tingling in arms or legs, loss of coordination, slurred speech, weakness or numbness in limbs, inability to wake up from sleep, Cognitive: confusion, difficulty concentrating or thinking clearly, memory problems, feeling slowed down, foggy or groggy. Increased confusion, agitation, restlessness, inability to perform tasks, memory problems, and language difficulties. Behavioral/emotional: irritability, anxiety, nervousness, feeling more emotional, sleep disturbances, aggression, combativeness, restlessness, agitation, changes in personality or behavior, difficulty with social interactions. Now, when I make this system properly, which I need to do soon because the event that causes the TBI will be happening soon, I'm going to include physical and cognitive penalties, but what they are exactly is to be determined. Finally, Gullie's nonverbal system. This one has been used but not fully written out, but essentially it's the same as Tick's anxiety system. They determine the level of the trigger and then roll the DC for it, and if it fails, Gullie goes nonverbal for X amount of time. One thing I want everyone to keep in mind is how much of this is player controlled. The players always have a choice to not roll on any given day. If they do roll, they can decide they don't want to deal with it today. For the anxiety, nonverbal stuff, they're in charge of deciding how intense the trigger is and if it's happening for minutes, hours, or days. Making sure this stays fun and engaging for the players while still doing what they want it to do takes a lot of conversation about it and frequent check-ins, and the willingness to change things as it's needed. I am going to change these various systems because they need tweaking. I've done some more research and whatnot. But that's it, folks. If you'd like to take a closer look at what I made, you can find links in the description. Thanks for joining me, and see you in the next one.